Am I the asshole for forcing my husband to close his business? My husband and I, both 30 years old, have been married for 7 years. When we were dating, he always expressed his dream of starting his own business, and he is an entrepreneur at heart. At age 27, he quit his well-paying job to start his own business, a fitness studio. I found it risky and scary, but supported him nonetheless because it is his dream. We could also afford starting a business because I earn $130,000 annually and have an inheritance from my mother who passed away. Besides monetary support, I also helped with renovation, building equipment, contacting clients, and advertising. I managed the front desk from time to time. 3 years later, his business had lost $200,000, which I paid for entirely using my inheritance. All the money he made from the business stayed in the business to pay for expenses, so I also paid 100% of our housing, transportation, food, and entertainment. My resentment was growing, and I was tired of being the sole provider. I feel he made many wasteful purchases, such as very expensive marketing services that brought in nearly no revenue. From my husband's point of view, he was working hard every day for our future. Despite the loss, he was making calculated bets. He believes that scared money does not make money. It is easy to say when it's someone else's money. He finds his business a tremendous source of pride and joy, seeing many clients who love the gym and continue to come back. He made friends with his coaches and clients. The gym is his sanctuary. 5 months ago, we agreed that I will no longer contribute financially to the business. He would find a job so that he can start contributing to the family, and he will use his income to support his business. Fast forward to today, he has not found a job yet, and he also maxed out the business credit card, and now the business is $40,000 in debt. I was furious. Finally, I requested that he must close his business within 1 or 2 months, and this is the only way that he will start looking for a job seriously. Am I the asshole for forcing my husband to close his business? Top comments. Comment. Not the asshole. Your husband spent your inheritance in 3 years. Now he's doubling down on the second phase where he figures out how to make you responsible for the business credit card. Your husband does not have a business. He has an expensive hobby that you are solely responsible for funding. It is time to stop supporting it and put it to rest. It is also time to look into protecting your assets before he tries to leverage your retirement as well. Most importantly, address the unpaid business credit card. Do not let it turn into your debt. Not the asshole. Comment. Not the asshole. Scared money does not make money? It's easy to say when it's someone else's money. Comment. My husband and I have a business that largely supports us. I have a full-time job, but it is mainly for the benefits and health insurance. He makes about 75% of our money. I would argue that being scared makes you smart. The first couple of years we were terrified, so we became selective. We decided what mattered and what didn't. It made us make plans for when we had money so that we didn't waste it on things we didn't need. We also had an exit plan. We were not going to dig a hole we couldn't climb out of. I think the whole scared money idea is just something people say online to get you to invest in their ineffective business coaching classes. Comment. This was not a real business, just a setting for his ego. Unless you have money to burn, you can't keep supporting him. This is similar to the old cliché of a trophy wife running a dress shop at a massive loss. Not the asshole for shutting it down. Of course he's not worried about money. He's using yours. I wouldn't count on him being gainfully employed anytime soon, though. You may have some serious times ahead. Protect what is left of your inheritance so that he can't access it in a divorce. You probably need some serious legal advice right now. Not the asshole. Write what you think about this situation. Who did the right thing, and who is the asshole? Let's discuss it in the comments. In the meantime, let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for telling my stepdaughter not to hold my daughter's cat? I am 39 years old and have been married to my wife, who is 36 years old, for 4 years. We have a 2-year-old child together. I also have a 13-year-old daughter from my late wife, and my wife has a 10-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. My daughter has a 16-year-old cat who is elderly. This cat belonged to her mother before she passed away. The cat is my daughter's prized possession and means the world to her. The cat prefers to stay in my daughter's room and on her bed, rarely leaving that space. I have had to tell my stepdaughter multiple times to be gentle with the cat because she is old and I worry that she might get hurt. The cat has a bad back and has undergone 2 operations for it. The other day, I caught my stepdaughter carrying the cat out of my daughter's room, and the cat was clearly uncomfortable. I told her to put the cat down and not to pick her up again. My stepdaughter got upset, saying it was not fair that my daughter has a cat and she does not, and that she does not even get to play with the cat. She was upset and went to cry to my wife. My wife got angry at me and said I was acting like an asshole and showing favoritism. I told her that I was not showing favoritism, but my stepdaughter is rough with this elderly cat. She does not know how to properly hold her, and the cat does not like to be held anyway. My wife went on a rant about how she was going to buy our stepdaughter a pet, and no one would be allowed to tend to it except her. I responded sarcastically, saying it would be great to let the 10-year-old be responsible for a living, breathing animal. This led to a big argument. Am I the asshole? Additional note. My stepdaughter is allowed to play with the cat, she just is not allowed to pick her up. She has been shown multiple times how to pet the cat and play with her, but she still tries to pick her up. Top comments. Comment. Not the asshole, but I would say you have a wife problem, not just a stepdaughter problem. Comment. Not the asshole. It is favoritism toward the cat. This is a living thing, not a toy, and a senior citizen to boot. If her child was being rough with a 90-year-old person with a cane, would that be okay? Comment. Not the asshole. Both your wife and stepdaughter are treating the cat as an object that should be shared, rather than a living, breathing animal with her own wants and needs. Your stepdaughter does not get to just grab the cat and carry her around wherever she wants if the cat does not want that. If she cannot respect that the cat does not want to be picked up, or might be hurt by her doing so, then she should not be near the cat or in charge of another animal. Your wife needs to understand that this is not about your stepdaughter or what she wants. It is about respecting an elderly animal that wants to be left alone. Your stepdaughter needs to be taught to respect an animal's space. Also, even if this were a case of your stepdaughter wanting an object that belongs to your daughter, she does not get to throw a tantrum over your daughter not sharing. It is not favoritism that you are defending something that belongs to your daughter. You don't get something just because you want it. You can ask, and if someone says no, you have to respect that. Comment. Oh boy, like daughter, like mother. You made a bad choice with this pair, and now you share a 2-year-old child. Dude, thank you for protecting your daughter's cat, though. Not the asshole. Comment. It imagine that for you, and perhaps more so for your daughter, this old cat is not merely a cat. It is a connection to your deceased spouse. Plus, this cat is old enough to drive. It needs tender, loving care, and the stepchild just doesn't get it. I agree with the commenter who suggests you have a spouse problem, not a stepchild problem. Not the asshole. Write what you think about this situation. Who did the right thing, and who is the asshole? Let's discuss it in the comments. In the meantime, let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for our friend's now broken iPhone and sunglasses that our son broke? I am a 28-year-old female, and my husband is a 32-year-old male. Our son in question is 6 months old. Whenever someone holds him, we warn them that he will try to grab their glasses or phone, and sometimes even their hair. We are trying to break this habit, but he is 6 months old. Now, I warned my husband that a friend of mine, a 33-year-old female, let's call her Jean, came to visit and wanted to hold him, which we did not mind at all. I warned her about it all, saying, "Oh, you'd best take your sunglasses off your head. He'll grab them." Now, these are Gucci sunglasses costing almost 800 pounds, which to me is a crazy amount for sunglasses, but each to their own. She rolled her eyes at me and accused me of hogging my own baby. I warned her again, and she said, "It's fine." So she stood holding him. She took her phone out wanting to take a selfie, which I am fine with as long as it's not posted. I don't want a picture of him online as of yet. He, of course, grabbed her sunglasses, got excited as he got them, waved his hands about with the sunglasses, and they flew. She screamed, scaring him. He panicked and flailed, hitting her iPhone to the floor. I quickly took him as she was freaking out. She says I need to buy her a new iPhone 16 and replace her sunglasses or give her the money for them, which is 2,300 pounds. I said we can't pay that, as that's more than my monthly wage. Plus, I am on maternity leave, but also I don't feel like I should, as you ignored my warnings. I'm called heartless for not being more understanding of her upset. I was more concerned with calming down my son. My husband just shrugged, telling her I did warn her. I fixed the issues since they were so triggering to people. Also, to those who thought an adult didn't write this, adults can have dyslexia. So, am I the asshole? Reddit verdict? Not the asshole. Top comments. Comment. If your child were 6 years old, I could see an argument for not having taught your child proper behavior. However, in this situation, the child is only 6 months old. You provided adequate warning, so you are not the asshole. You owe her nothing. Comment. When I read the top, I thought, surely you're responsible. But you are not the asshole. You warned her, specifically about the glasses. She overrode your suggestion. A 6-month-old is still a bundle of nerves learning how everything works. Also, 800 pounds for non-prescription glasses is indeed stupid. Comment. You are not the asshole. Your financial situation is not relevant. If it was your responsibility, it would remain so. You would be asking for kindness for the debt to be forgiven or reduced. But you are not responsible. You duly warned her. She took responsibility when she rolled her eyes, dismissed your warning, and said, "It's fine." End of story, end of discussion with her. I'm guessing she wanted a selfie of the baby and her with her fine Gucci glasses. That mattered more to her than safeguarding her stuff. She could have also asked you to take a picture of her and the baby. Comment. You are not the asshole. You said, "Don't touch that, it's hot." She, while staring you in the eye, touched it and said, "Ouch, why didn't you tell me?" All her problems are of her own making. Comment. It will probably end the friendship, but you would be not the asshole if you didn't pay. She was warned, so I'll go with you are not the asshole. However, you need to realize in life it's not always enough to warn and play find out after fucking up. Sometimes you have to say, "Sorry, I'm concerned about what he'll do to your belongings." You can hold him after you put them over there. Or, in a made-up scenario, "I know your child loves dogs, but I have to say no. My pup may not react well to being petted by a toddler." You have to take charge so nothing actually happens. Author. That's a great point, and we will probably be taking that on so something like this doesn't happen again. Thank you.
Write what you think about this situation. Who did the right thing, and who is the asshole? Let's discuss it in the comments. In the meantime, let's move on to the next story. Would I be the asshole if I threatened to turn off my Life 360? I, 19 female, am in my first week of college. I've had Life 360 with my parents since I was about 16 for general safety reasons. However, they're a bit overbearing and controlling about where I go, even after I turned 18. I found myself being extremely stressed about doing very normal things and being worried about them getting upset. Before I left for college, my mom asked me to leave my Life 360 on, joking about how she wants to know what ditch to get me out of if something goes wrong, which I completely understand, but my parents have been obsessively checking my location since I've gotten here. They've mentioned in passing places I went, literally like stores to buy stuff for school, when I didn't tell them I was going. They've been pressuring me to go to church and checking my location frequently to make sure I don't want to, but I like to keep the peace. It's a bit uncomfortable. I'm wondering if I'd be an asshole if I told them that if they don't stop stalking me, I'm going to turn off my Life 360. I understand their reasoning behind wanting me to have it, but it's uncomfortable knowing that wherever I am, they're probably looking constantly. I'd appreciate any input y'all have. Edit. Wow. Posting here has been so validating and I feel less crazy. Thank you for your kind words of support and advice. I haven't done anything yet. I've decided to wait until my next therapy appointment to talk it out with my therapist before I take action. I might update if I remember. Reddit verdict, not the asshole. Top comments. Comment, not the asshole. Gods, I remember the days when the answer to "Where is your kid?" was, "Hell I know, she's due back at dinner." I can't imagine living under the crushing surveillance of Life 360. Answer. During the summers between mid-80s and mid-90s, I'm pretty sure my parents forgot they even had a kid. Comment. No, and honestly, it would be better for your long-term relationship, but do be careful. Those first couple of years of freedom after having overbearing parents can be dangerous. Not the asshole. Comment. Not the asshole, but if they're paying your way right now, it could jeopardize that support. Have you talked to them about how uncomfortable this makes you? Is your dad just as bad as your mom? Author.
I haven't. I'm a bit scared to, though. I know they'll just pallet that I'm shutting them out or something. And yeah, my dad sent me a screenshot of my location this morning while I was at church. I forgot my phone in my car, and he was asking why I wasn't going inside. I feel like he's trying to make sure I go to church. Comment. You would not be the asshole. Look, I'm a parent. I have a 24-year-old that went to college at 17. All I'm going to say is, at some point, you will need to assert your independence. They do not need to know what you are doing at every given time of the day. I would set the boundary with them, and if they're uncomfortable with it, then that's on them. My daughter only shares her location when she goes on dates or long trips, so if something does happen. But as for every day, nope. But I also don't check every 5 minutes. Comment. Not the asshole. Are they supporting you financially? It could be beneficial to get a dirt cheap second phone or a digital SIM card and just leave the app on and take your other phone places. If you depend on them for FAFSA or other financial support, it may be worth not pissing them off. Their actions are definitely creepy and controlling. Author. This is something I've thought about. I can't even pay for food by myself, so I'm a bit scared of my dad threatening to stop paying for my college. What would be the easiest way to get a burner phone? Comment. Not the asshole, but be prepared for all the things your parents will shut off if they're still paying for them. School help, phone, other bills, etc. Parents this obsessive about an adult child will absolutely punish you by withdrawing financial help, so be prepared if they're paying for anything. Answer. I was such an asshole teen. If I had this, I'd go strange places, frequently and on purpose, just to punish them for watching. Why did you spend 3 hours at a porn shop? No, I was just studying there. They have quiet booths. Why did you go to that mosque? They had tours. You said you wanted me to go to more churches, and Allah has better food at his potluck. And so on. If 9 out of 10 things they see are something I had put there to spite them, well, maybe they'll mind their own business. Also, like others have said, they might tut you off. I'd be okay with that. The original poster might not be.
What do you think about this situation? Who do you think is a jerk, and who did the right thing? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel to get more cool and interesting stories. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.